Hello, dear students. Have a nice day to all. Today, let's learn the fourth chapter from your SS textbook How the Traders Became Rulers. In chapter 1, you all have understood how the Europeans came to India and for what purpose they came here, right? Yes, we all know that they came here to trade with our country because there was a great demand for Indian commodities in European countries. Initially, when they came to India, they took permission from the rulers to trade in the Indian states, and gradually they began to emerge as a strong power in India. They believed that in order to increase their economic interest, they should have a strong hold in the Indian politics. So they began to adopt some policies through which they managed to get the power of states in their hand. So the Governor General Wellesley felt that he should stop France from becoming powerful in India. So he introduced a new plan, which was known as subsidiary alliance. By implementing this system, Wellesley annexed many provinces and expanded the rule of East India Company in India. Wellesley asked the rulers of India to accept this system. All those rulers who accepted the system felt secured in the beginning, but they felt enslaved and threatened by the Britishers. After these battles, the Britishers got a strong hold in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, etc. Thereafter, they adopted policies like divide and rule policy, and almost all the kingdoms of India were in the hands of the Britishers. First of all, we learn about Lord Wellesley's policy of expansion. When Wellesley became the Governor General of India, there was a strong competition going on between England and France to establish their dominance in Indian states. There were some terms and conditions which were to be agreed by the rulers who had accepted the system. The terms and conditions of subsidiary alliance policy were: first, the help of British army will be provided to the state that accepts the system. Second, in return to that, the king should provide for the army, or if the king is not ready to bear the expenses of the army, he should give away the provinces with equivalent income to the British. Third, the king had no right to utilize the army at his own will without the permission of Britishers. Fourth point, one British representative should be kept in the Royal Assembly. And the last condition was other foreigners should not be employed in the court. Thus, these were the terms and conditions of subsidiary alliance policy. In the beginning, many states of India felt this policy as a good one. So, some of the rulers accepted this policy. Nizam of Hyderabad was the first one to accept this policy. Later, rulers of Mysore, Ayodhya, Jodhpur, Gaikwads of Vadodara, Peshwas of Pune, Sindhyas of Gwalior, etc. also accepted this policy. This policy was like a sweet poison for the princely states of India. The Britishers made the Marathas, who were one of the most powerful rulers of India, fight against themselves and made them also accept the subsidiary alliance policy. We will see some examples of how the Britishers used the divide and rule policy in India. First, in the Battle of Plassey, we know that the Britishers bribed Mir Jafar, who was the commander-in-chief of the army of Nawab of Bengal. They divided the Nawab of Bengal's side by giving bribes to his army heads and nobles. And thus, Britishers were able to defeat the Nawab of Bengal easily. Britishers never fought with two or more enemies at once. They used to make alliance with other regional power to defeat the others. Say, for example, they made alliance with Marathas and Nizams to fight against Mysore. So, with their help, the Britishers were able to defeat the Mysore kingdom. Later on, they defeated the Maratha kingdom also in the same manner in the year 1818 AD. Thus, by this divide and rule policy, the Britishers were able to divide us and defeat us one by one. And slowly, they captured the entire India. Tipu Sultan, the most powerful ruler of Mysore, who was known as the Tiger of Mysore, was killed by the Britishers in 4th Anglo-Mysore War, and thus Mysore had to accept the subsidiary alliance policy. Later, one by one, all the Maratha states were also became the victims of divide and rule policy of British East India Company. Thus, within a span of 7 years, Wellesley expanded the rule of East India Company and made the Britishers the supreme power in India. Now let's see the topic expansion of the British rule in India. After making the subsidiary alliance treaties with Mysore, Nizam of Hyderabad and Maratha rulers, the Britishers turned their attention to the northern part of India. Nepal was a strong power then, so they made friendship with Nepal, and with their help many battles were fought and secured the power in the borders of India. They also made a friendly relationship with the Sikh ruler Maharaja Ranjit Singh. With his help, the Britishers fought against Afghans and won the battle, and then they established their rule in Sindh. The Britishers were overambitious to defeat the Punjab as well, but they could not defeat Punjab as long as Maharaja Ranjit Singh was alive, because he was a very strong and powerful ruler of Punjab. So they continued friendly relation with Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He was a very powerful ruler of North India at that time. He had also set up a strong army with the help of European officers for the protection of his state. He also fought battles with nearby states and got victory in all these battles. But after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, there was no other efficient ruler in Punjab like Maharaja Ranjit Singh. There was no law and order followed in Punjab after his death. Then Sir Henry Hardinge, who came to India as the Governor General, he brought Punjab under the control of British East India Company with the policy of interference and annexation. Let me wind up this chapter here. We'll continue this chapter in the next session. Until then, take care. Bye.